Think about your absolute best clients. I mean, were they the ones blowing up your phone at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday with, random Pinterest links?
Oh, definitely not.
Right, exactly. Or were they the ones who trusted your process so completely that you rarely heard from them outside of scheduled updates?
Yeah, that's the dream scenario right there.
It really is. So welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Look, whether you are a construction business owner, a project manager running operations on the ground, or, just someone fascinated by the mechanics of how businesses actually scale into industry legends, we have a really vital mission today.
We do. We're getting into the weeds today.
Yeah, we're exploring how taking absolute control of your client processes, well, it's the ultimate key to scaling your business, improving your profitability, and honestly just keeping your sanity intact.
Which is arguably the most critical operational hurdle in the construction industry.
Yeah.
I mean, the nature of a build is inherently chaotic, right? You've got moving parts, supply chain issues, weather delays.
Oh, the weather. Don't get me started.
Right. But the most destructive chaos doesn't usually come from the job site itself. It actually originates in the client relationship, specifically when that relationship lacks a definitive
leader.
Yeah, because the best clients, they feel secure. And they feel secure because someone is actively leading them through this, totally unfamiliar environment.
It's like walking into a surgeon's operating room.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, you would never grab the scalpel and tell the surgeon, hey, cut a little to the left.
Yeah.
You trust them entirely because they operate within a highly structured, basically non-negotiable process. They are the expert.
Exactly.
So why do so many contractors who are executing these incredibly complex, multi-million-dollar builds just hand over the steering wheel and let the client dictate the pace and the communication?
Well, that tension comes from a fundamental, really industry-wide misunderstanding of what good customer service actually means.
Oh, so?
Well, a massive percentage of contractors operate in a deeply reactive mode.
Yeah.
I mean, they came up through their trades where pure hustle was rewarded, right?
Oh, for sure. The grind.
Exactly, the grind. So they believe that ultimate flexibility, like answering every single call in the first ring, accommodating spontaneous site visits, shifting the schedule because the client had a sudden change of heart, they think that's the very definition of providing a premium service.
They think they're being accommodating.
Right. They think they're doing a great job.
But okay, let's unpack this for a second, because I can hear the pushback from our listeners already.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah. If I'm a custom home builder or, a commercial contractor, won't establishing rigid rules and non-negotiable processes scare away those high-paying VIP clients?
That's the fear. Yeah.
Right. The ones who are spending huge money and, they expect on-demand, white-glove access to me whenever they want.
What's fascinating here is that high net worth individuals or major commercial developers actually crave structure the most.
Really? They want the rules.
Think about it. These are usually highly successful people who operate within sophisticated systems in their own businesses. They absolutely do not want another full-time job managing a construction project.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
They want to know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you have it completely under control. When you dictate the workflow, you demonstrate authority. You transition from being a hired laborer taking orders to an expert consultant leading an engagement. We call this the premium positioning effect.
A premium positioning effect, meaning the structure itself becomes the luxury experience.
Precisely. You aren't just selling the physical lumber and concrete, you are selling the peace of mind that comes with a flawless, predictable process.
Wow, okay.
And that positioning directly justifies higher pricing. Actually, Smart Business Automator's Market Intelligence Report clearly illustrates this.
Oh, really? What did they find?
They found that process-driven contractors who enforce operational boundaries significantly outperform reactive ones. They boast higher profit margins and substantially better client retention, entirely because they lead rather than follow.
Okay, so if structure is what clients actually want and it drives profitability, what does that structure look like in practice? How do you take this theory of premium positioning and build it into the DNA of the business?
It requires implementing a rigid 5-stage client journey. I want to be clear, this isn't a crisis management tool you pull out when a build goes sideways.
Right, it's not a Band-Aid.
No, it begins the moment they first hear about you.
Yeah.
So stage one is the initial inquiry. Most contractors just throw a phone number on their website and take whatever calls come in.
Yeah, the spray and pray method.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But a premium process uses a targeted intake questionnaire. You are actively vetting them to see if their budget, their timeline, and honestly their personality align with your business model before you ever give them your time.
So you're filtering out the price shoppers and the red flags on day one.
Exactly. Which brings us to stage 2, the first client consultation. This is where you establish your authority.
Okay.
You have to script this interaction, not reading off a piece of paper like a robot, obviously, but having a defined sequence for how the conversation flows. You make your process a core selling point.
So you're actively pitching the rules.
Yes, you explicitly tell them, hey, here is how our firm works, here's the software we use, and here is exactly how we will communicate with you throughout the build.
You know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
Checking into a really high-end luxury hotel.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you walk through the doors of a 5-star resort, they don't ask you how you want to check in. They don't ask you where you want to carry your bags. They greet you by name, take your luggage, hand you a warm towel, and, guide you to the desk.
That is a perfect analogy.
Yeah, you completely surrender to their process and it feels amazing. It's not just a transaction. They're actively training you on how to experience their service.
That's exactly it. You are training the client. And stage 3, the pre-construction and planning phase, is where you formalize that training into a contract.
Getting it on paper.
Right. This is where you introduce expectation setting documents. We're talking about clear, written outlines of communication protocols, change order procedures, and payment milestones.
So no surprises later.
None. And Smart Business Automator's Market Intelligence Report highlights something incredible here. Implementing these simple expectation-setting documents early prevents roughly 90% of client complaints before a single shovel hits the dirt.
Wait, 90%? That is a staggering number. 90% of friction eliminated just by writing down the rules of the game before the game starts.
Yeah, because human psychology dictates that people hate uncertainty far more than they hate bad news.
That's very true.
Most complaints in construction aren't about the actual craftsmanship. They're about misaligned expectations. If a client knows that requesting a custom tile change will automatically add 2 weeks to the timeline and say a 20% administrative fee because you made them sign a document acknowledging it in stage 3.
Then they don't get angry when you enforce it in stage 4.
Exactly.
Which brings us to stage 4, active construction. The messy middle.
Very messy.
Because setting the rules on paper in a nice air-conditioned office is completely different from enforcing them when the drywall is actually going up and real money is flying out the door.
Oh, absolutely. The active build is where the premium positioning effect is truly tested. It is human nature for clients to test boundaries once the reality of a massive financial investment sets in.
Sure.
This is where you have to fiercely protect the communication cadences you established in stages 2 and 3.
Well, this raises an important question, though. How do you balance being accommodating? Because you still want to provide that white glove service with holding firm when a client wants to go off script. Like, where's the line between good service and just losing control of your project?
You have to establish clear criteria for when to flex and when to hold the line. The general rule of thumb is this: you flex on things that impact the client's ultimate joy with the final product, provided it doesn't derail the critical path of the schedule.
Okay, give me an example.
Sure. If they want to swap a kitchen faucet finish before the plumbing rough-in has started, you flex. You accommodate them with a smile, but you absolutely hold the line on process integrity.
Meaning
If they show up on site and try to bypass your change order approval software by giving a verbal command directly to a subcontractor, you hold the line. You protect the project's ecosystem above their momentary convenience.
Okay, so what does this all mean for the contractor sitting at the dinner table with their family when their phone suddenly buzzes? Let's say the client is texting at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday asking about a delay in the flooring delivery.
Ah, the infamous 9 p.m. text.
Exactly. How do you reroute a rule-breaking client back into the system without sounding like a total jerk? You can't just ignore a VIP client, but if you answer, you're basically training them that 9 p.m. is an acceptable time to talk about hardwood.
Right. You do not scold them, and you certainly don't ignore them permanently. But you absolutely refuse to engage in the medium and the time they chose.
So you wait.
Yes. You wait until the next morning within your defined business hours, and you reply through your official channel, whether that's your project management software portal or an official company email.
Okay, what do you say?
You say something polite but firm, like, "Hey, great question about the flooring. I've updated the project portal with the latest tracking information, and we will review this in detail during our standing Thursday update call."
Ah, I see. So you are answering the question, but you are forcing the interaction back onto your turf.
Continually reinforcing the established cadence. Over time, the client subconsciously learns that texting your personal cell at night yields no immediate result, but checking the portal or waiting for the weekly update gives them all the rich, detailed information they need.
That's brilliant.
You extinguish the bad behavior simply by not rewarding it.
Okay, and once that active build is complete, we hit stage 5, the project handoff, which I imagine is just as critical because nothing ruins a premium experience like a contractor who lingers for 6 months trying to finish a punch list.
Oh, the never-ending punch list. Yeah, stage 5 is about closing the loop definitively. A structured handoff process involves a single, formal walkthrough, a finalized punch list that the client actually signs off on, and a clear handover of warranty documents and maintenance schedules.
Clean break.
Exactly.
Okay.
When you control the exit just as tightly as the entrance, the client's final memory of your firm is one of total professionalism and organized completion.
Okay, I am entirely sold on this 5-stage journey. It makes perfect sense. But let's ground this in reality for a second.
Sure.
Enforcing these boundaries, sending weekly updates, managing portals, generating expectation documents. I mean, if you are a project manager or a business owner juggling 5, 10, or 20 active builds, you are already drowning.
That's the truth.
You cannot lead a client with calm, authoritative confidence if you are buried under a mountain of administrative heavy lifting.
And that is the exact operational bottleneck that prevents construction businesses from scaling. You cannot scale a premium client experience using manual labor alone.
There's just not enough hours in the day.
Right, the human brain only has so much bandwidth. To truly lead the client, you need an operational engine behind you handling the data and the documentation.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, because the entire landscape of how we handle that administrative burden is shifting, right? Like, we're moving away from hiring armies of assistants and moving toward technology, specifically artificial intelligence platforms built entirely for the trades.
We are. It's a game changer.
Let's look at Smart Business Automator. How does an AI engine actually give a contractor their time back?
Well, it fundamentally changes the administrative workflow through several key capabilities. The first major shift is document intelligence and organization.
Which is huge.
Oh, massive. Right now, most project managers spend hours digging through messy desktop folders, massive email chains, or disorganized cloud drives just to find a single approved permit or, a specific photo of a plumbing rough-in from 3 months ago.
Right. It's basically digital hoarding.
Yeah, but the AI platform acts as a totally aware digital librarian. It automatically tags, sorts, and categorizes every photo, plan, permit, and RFI.
RFIs are the worst.
They are. Those endless requests for information that constantly stall out a build when a subcontractor needs clarification from an architect. But the system goes much deeper than just passive file storage. It uses optical character recognition and natural language processing to actually read and understand the documents.
Wait, it reads them?
Yes. It extracts crucial details from dense architectural specs and complex drawings.
Okay, explain how that works in practice. How does an AI reading a spec help the builder on the ground?
Imagine an architect updates a revision, noting that a specific long lead time Kohler faucet needs to be installed, but that detail doesn't make it to the plumber's submittal package.
Oh, that happens all the time.
Exactly. So instead of a human project manager spending 4 hours cross-referencing hundreds of pages of documents with a highlighter to manually catch that discrepancy, the AI cross-references the entire data set instantly and flags the missing item before the wrong part is ever ordered.
But wait, if we just spent the first half of this deep dive talking about delivering a white glove premium client experience, doesn't utilizing a robot to manage communications and flag issues completely destroy that illusion of a personal touch? Like, isn't AI the opposite of a premium human-led service?
That is a very common concern, but it looks at the tool backward. The AI isn't replacing the relationship. It is protecting the human's capacity to manage the relationship.
Okay, walk me through that.
Let's look at the communication features. The platform can take a rambling, disorganized 3-minute voice memo that a superintendent dictates while walking to their truck at the end of a long, exhausting day.
The classic truck walk memo.
We all know it. So it doesn't just transcribe the audio. It understands the construction context, extracts the actual deliverables, and formats it into a highly professional, concise daily log and meeting summary with clear, assignable action items.
So the system drafts the communication, but the human still owns it.
Exactly. The AI generates a flawless draft. The project manager reviews it, adds their personal touch, and hits send. The client receives a beautifully formatted, highly detailed update that reinforces that premium positioning we talked about earlier.
And it took no time at all.
Right. Instead of taking the project manager an hour to write, it took them 3 minutes to review. That saved hour is what gives the project manager the actual time and mental energy to make a personal, high-value phone call to the client. The technology buys you the time to be human.
Wow, that completely flips the perspective. And I assume this ties directly into managing the financial health of the project as well.
It does. The true scaling power comes from its project health and risk detection capabilities. Look, to lead a client effectively, you have to be wildly proactive.
Right, you can't be putting out fires all day.
No, you cannot be surprised by a schedule delay or a budget overrun in the 11th hour. The platform constantly analyzes the project data to detect schedule risks, material bottlenecks, budget variances, and, the cascading timeline impacts of multiple change orders incredibly early.
So leadership can look at a dashboard and make a strategic pivot before a minor supply chain hiccup turns into a major relationship-damaging client dispute.
Precisely. And because the system uses a natural language smart search, your team doesn't need to be highly technical software engineers to extract this value.
They just ask it questions.
Yeah, they can literally type a question into the AI project assistant as if they were asking a fully aware human colleague. They can ask, hey, what is the status of the HVAC submittal on the downtown commercial project? And the exact contextual answer is provided instantly.
That's incredible.
Plus, it connects seamlessly via API into the company's existing ERP system, your enterprise resource planning software, which is basically the financial and operational nervous system of your company. It syncs the field data directly with your accounting without any manual data entry.
Look, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it fundamentally alters the output capacity of a human being.
It really does.
I mean, it allows a project manager to oversee significantly more volume, effectively scaling the business's revenue without subjecting that employee to the administrative burnout that crushes so many great builders.
Exactly.
When a superintendent isn't panicked about tracking down a lost invoice or, writing daily logs at midnight, they naturally possess that calm, authoritative demeanor required to confidently guide the client through the 5-stage journey.
It is a self-reinforcing cycle. The technology handles the data, which buys you time. The time gives you mental clarity. And that clarity allows you to be the definitive expert the client desperately wants you to be.
The surgeon.
The surgeon, yes.
Yeah.
That is the synthesis of everything we've explored today. Your clients do not want to manage you. They want the surgeon. By combining a rigid 5-stage client journey, absolute clarity on communication boundaries, proactive expectation setting documents, and, powerful AI tools on the back end to execute the heavy lifting, you stop chasing the chaos.
You really do.
You step out of the reactive trap and you start scaling a highly profitable premium business.
You stop being a victim to your phone notifications and you start running the show.
Absolutely. And I want to leave everyone listening with a final thought to really mull over.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've talked extensively today about how enforcing structure scales your day-to-day operations and improves your margins. But think about your long-term legacy. Think about the ultimate value of what you are building. If you decide to sell your construction business in 5 or 10 years, a buyer or a private equity firm isn't going to pay a premium for your personal ability to answer client text messages at midnight.
No, they are not.
They are buying your automated processes. They are buying your systems. So ask yourself, are you building a fully autonomous asset that has real market value without you? Or have you just created a very high-stress, 24/7 job for yourself?
Man, that is a profound question every single business owner needs to honestly answer today. Look, if this deep dive gave you an aha moment or if it highlighted a crack in your own client journey, please take a second to subscribe, rate, and review the show on whatever platform you're listening from. Share this with a colleague, a fellow scaling legend, or your project management team who desperately needs to hear it. And to see exactly how you can scale your operations and implement these tools without drowning in admin work, visit smartbusinessautomator.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.